Hey guys, my name is Attorney Walter, if not the third, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going through essentially how Biden is going to be changing supplemental security income, basically disability benefits, for the better for people going forward. Now, before we do that, we always have to do our intro. I've been working here way too long. That's the law firm that I own. It's been in existence for 8 or 9 years now. I'm not really sure how long. And then, of course, I worked for a couple other law firms before that. That is Disability Resolution. Right there, right there.com. Excellent. The next place I want to point out real quick is spaceconstitution.com. Now, bigger than the usual, spaceconstitution.com is going to be launching officially the website on July 4th. I'm going to keep making updates about that throughout this video so that you understand what's going on. I'm going to keep going into really important bullet points as to why that's relevant for you guys. Now, with that said, we are starting more on time than we normally do. People are starting to come in right now. I'm going to get right to it. I'm not going to waste any time. I know people are still loading in. The whole point of this session is we're going to be trying out something a little bit different from what we normally do. People have been complaining that when I go live, I only answer phone calls, or I only go ahead and basically, do certain things where I don't answer the chat sessions and stuff like that. What I need you to know is that we're going to try splitting this session up so that essentially I'm doing phone calls after I do my intro, where I go through specifically what President Biden is doing with SSI and how he's changing it. And then we're going to go into phone calls, and then we're going to go into chat. I'm going to reserve time to answer questions in the chat. So first we'll be on the topic of how disability is changing. Then we'll be on the topic of basically answering questions from people who call in. And then we'll go into basically the chat session. All right. My name is Attorney Walter, if not the third. We can go ahead and begin the basics here. I see we've got some people popping in, which is good. Howdy, guys. Let me do this real quick. Howdy, guys. All right. So, which is ironic because my usuals aren't in here, but I'm actually starting a little bit sooner than I normally do. So we'll probably see people pop in pretty quickly. How is President Biden changing Social Security disability benefits specifically for SSI? Well, we need to go look at Sherrod Brown, U.S. Senator for Ohio, right here. This document, which is going to tell us all about it. And this was made on June 16th, 2021. Brown leads senators in introducing historic legislation to update long-neglected Social Security program to ensure older adults and people with disabilities are no longer trapped in poverty. Let's go through this and let's begin. Yeah, this is for SSI and SSDI. This is specifically for essentially how President Biden's getting rid of some of the bad rules, such as, for example, the marriage penalty, such as, for example, the 24-month waiting rule for Medicare, such as, for example, the 5-month waiting rule for SSDI. All right, guys, let's go into it real quick. They put it as lifeline for millions have been forgotten by Washington for over 30 years. All right, so Washington, D.C. Today, U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown, Democrat, Ohio, led Senate Democrats in reintroducing the Supplemental Security Income Restoration Act. Now, a little background. This act is going to change everything when it comes to supplemental security income, which is a disability program. With that said, it has been introduced before during the Trump era, and it was shot down during the Trump era. I think a lot of the reason why it was shot down during the Trump era is that the Democrats kind of dragged the Republicans through the dirt on that one. And they should have buddied up with them because the Republicans would agree with a lot of what's in this act. They would be on board with much of it. So the bottom line here is essentially what's happening is the Democrats are pushing all the little eggs into a basket on this particular act. Okay. If I inherit a lot of money and assets, your SSDI will only be reduced for that month if it's countable assets that you inherit. Otherwise, you could literally win the lottery, not be eligible for that month, and then continue to be eligible thereafter. So Phil B, bottom line is you can go ahead and receive those things. It's going to hurt you for 1 month, but then once they become resources, it won't hurt you at all. Okay, so here we go. All right. Today, U.S. Senator Sherrod Brown brought it forward with the Democrats to bring the Supplemental Security Income SSI program into the 21st century and ensure disabled and elderly Ohioans and everybody else are able to live with dignity. An often forgotten part of America's social security system, SSI is a federal program that provides vital income assistance to nearly 8 million elderly and disabled Americans with low income and limited resources, including over 1 million disabled children. But due to decades of shameful federal neglect, I wouldn't call it federal neglect, the program now consigns millions to deep and enduring poverty when it should instead offer a lifeline out of it. So what he's talking about here is raising the supplemental security income amount. Right now it's at $794. They want to raise it based on the poverty income level to a higher percentage. And here's what they also want to do. They also want to get rid of the marriage penalty. We'll go through all those in a moment. So here we go. The promise of Social Security is to ensure that no one in America should live in poverty, least of all nations, seniors, and people with disabilities. By updating SSI, we can deliver on this promise and ensure disabled and elderly Ohioans and all of Americans are able to live with dignity. Congress must prioritize these long overdue reforms as part of upcoming recovery legislation. Now, as you guys normally see, when it comes to Republicans and Democrats always use soulful, very like uplifting terms. It's a lot of emotion that they use when they write their, their little executive summaries. Whereas Republicans, their writings tend to be a little bit more bland and dry. What we're seeing here is schmoozy, buttering of essentially what's actually going on. Here are the bullet points. Let's get right to it. The SSI Restoration Act would, here we go, raise SSI's sub-poverty level monthly benefit, currently $794 per month, which we all know is the 2020 amount, to 100% of the federal poverty level, a 31% increase, and index them to inflation. So that's a big boost. That's a big boost. And what that means is that it's not as good as 125 or 135% of the poverty level that other statutes we're looking at, other bills that are being presented, but still it's really good. It's an increase of 794 by a lot, which is awesome. Okay. Update the index and assets individuals of couples may have up to $10,000 and $20,000 respectively. The current limit of $2,000 for an individual and $3,000 for a couple has not been updated since 1989. All right, so what they're doing here is, this is bullet point 2. They're taking that whole SSI limit on assets and they're saying this is moronic. Everybody has more than $2,000 if they have anything. If they have nothing, if they're homeless in the woods, then sure, they'll be under the $2,000. But that does not cater to a lot of people that are on SSI who do have some assets as they should be allowed to. This is raising it from a $2,000 limit of assets and income to basically a $1,000 limit, which is amazing. That's really, really good. Then for couples, it's raising it from $3,000 to $20,000. Let's keep going. Update the index SSI's income rules, which have never been updated since the program was signed into law in 1972. When you want to think about this stuff, think about it like this. 1930s, Social Security was started. 1950s, SSDI came into existence. 1970s, SSI. That's when that came into existence. So it's basically every 20 years from 30s to the 50s to the 70s. That's when the big things happen, okay? These reforms will allow individuals to earn up to $399 a month from working and up to $123 a month in assistance from other sources, including Social Security, veterans benefits, and pension payments without being subject to benefit reduction. This is one of the big things. And I want to explain this because this is friggin' huge. What this is that they're allowing people to earn more money without it hurting their benefits. Normally, you're only allowed to earn up to $85. That's not countable. Now they're talking about individuals can earn up to $399 a month from working and up to $123 a month in assistance from other sources, including your VA benefits, your Social Security benefits, etc., your pension payments, yada, yada. This is huge. This gets this whole system working better to put more money in the hands of the SSI person. And remember, the whole bottom line here, if we just simplify it all, is to take $794 and increase it up to over $1,000. That's what we're doing here. That's the whole thing. That's why this is so great. That's why this is so amazing. Because let's call it like it is. You can't live on $794 a month. You can't unless other people are paying for everything. Next one. These reforms will reward and not penalize. SSI recipients who want to earn additional income to provide for themselves and their families will be able to basically do that. That's good. Eliminate the marriage penalty. God, you know how many times, and I was on Biden about this because I wanted him to get in and change this, and he didn't. But this is his shot to actually change it. Eliminate the marriage penalty and increase the benefit for married couples to double the individual rate to put marriage equality within reach for SSI beneficiaries. So a lot of you guys don't know what this means. What they're saying here is this. They're saying that for SSI, there has always been a marriage penalty. That is where if a man and a woman, or a woman and a man, or a man and a man marry, and they're both on SSI, they don't get to take their SSI benefits and their SSI benefits and have both of them added together. No, no, no. What they do is they take both of those SSI amounts, they combine them and reduce them so that a married couple gets less. That's why so many people, when they're in an impoverished state, don't get married. That's the rule right there. They don't get married because, frankly, and it's very simple, they will cut down their benefits. It won't be $794. It'll be a smaller amount, which is ridiculous. This act, this bill will change that and we'll get rid of it. Very, very good. I was on Biden about this. Now I see this is coming down the pike, and I hope Republicans are on board with this. They need to be, because this is a very good thing. Next bullet point, eliminate benefit reductions that penalize beneficiaries who receive in-kind help from friends or family, such as groceries or a place to stay. This right here, guys, is bigger than all of those combined. Let me explain. This, out of all the bullet points we've gone through, the raising the rate to 100%, the poverty level, updating the index, 10,000 from 2,000 to 10,000, those are itty bitty. Those are small. This provision right here, eliminate benefit reductions that penalize beneficiaries who receive in-kind help from friends or family, such as groceries or a place to stay. Let me explain how this works. As an attorney who represents mostly SSI claimants, and just so you know, most disability attorneys do not heavily represent SSI claimants. They don't, because there's no money in it. I do it because I'm an idiot who likes to help people. Most attorneys don't do it because there's no money in it. Here's why. Most SSI people applying fall into two categories: the truly homeless and those who are getting assistance from other people. The truly homeless get to count each month of their back pay as $794 for 2021, and then it goes down a little bit for each year you go back in time. But their back pay, they get the maximum because nobody is helping them at all. That's how that works. So you've got this other category. You now have SSI people who are applying, who are getting help from people. Friends, family, grandparents, parents, they're helping them, giving them a place to stay, giving them a little bit of extra cash for food, letting them get a video game, whatever. They're helping them. Homeless people, no help, maximum back pay for SSI, which is still crap. People that are getting help from friends and family, whoa, 1/3 reduction rule applies for each month of back pay, and each month forward that you are waiting, or rather that you're receiving SSI benefits, they take 1/3 away. So think about that. Let's say you have Charlie. Charlie's homeless. Charlie is not in a good place now. Charlie is our first example person for this provision and why this is so amazing. Like, this is amazing. And if there's a Republican out there that goes against this, I will personally go against that Republican and just embarrass the shit out of them using YouTube and Facebook and things like that. Don't worry, I will help. Here's the bottom line. You have right here Charlie. He's homeless. He unfortunately can't do much because he doesn't have transportation. He doesn't have assets to get things completed, things rolling, doesn't have a computer. He's receiving no assistance. Well, the SSI program looks at Charlie and says, you know what? We're going to pay him the maximum amount of SSI for each month of back pay and going forward. Okay, now we have Sally. Sally gets screwed in this example. Sally, unfortunately, is receiving assistance from her grandparents who are giving her a place to stay because they're giving her a room. Well, Sally doesn't get $794 per month. She gets around $500 per month because of what's called the in-kind support maintenance reduction, or what's called the 1/3 reduction rule. That's because Sally's receiving assistance. Because Sally is receiving assistance, the government kills off her opportunity to get more money. Which means that if she continues to receive assistance, even after she's been found disabled, they won't pay her $794. They'll pay her a little over $500 a month. How could you ever expect to live on $500 a month? You couldn't. It's just not possible in America. It's just not reasonable. It's not okay. So if there are any Democrats or Republicans that go against this, I will brutally go after them using my YouTube channel. Democrats or Republicans, I will do you guys harm because I know this statute and I know this law better than you do. I will do you harm. I will find a way to do so much bad advertising for your, agenda and your thing, because this is really good. This means our most poor, our most incapable of doing things because they don't have the resources, the assets, the education, they're disabled, they're elderly, the most incapable individuals, a special class, if you will, of Americans that need the most help. This is it. This is the future. This is, in combination with the Social Security 2100 Act, going to be the two big things that Biden passes during his administration. So here's the deal. Sounds good, Lou Levine. Okay, so here's the deal. If they reduce this in-kind support and maintenance reduction, then we as attorneys who represent the SSI people no longer have to play what's called the loan agreement game. Well, what is this loan agreement game? So we both know that the homeless people who are truly homeless and receive no support, they get the full amount of back pay benefits and forward pay benefits going forward. But Sally, our person in the example, who essentially, let's call it like it is receiving support and help from her uncle and her grandfather and or whatever, well, she's only getting around $500 due to the 1/3 reduction rule. This bill gets rid of that. Now, how did attorneys get around that? Well, we would work with the claimant and those people. So we'd work with Sally and those people who were supporting her, like her aunt and her uncle, and set up what's called a loan agreement. Because in order to get around this in-kind support and maintenance rule, we created a loan agreement. Howdy, guys. Howdy, howdy. John Wick, I love it. Howdy. What we did was we would create a loan agreement. And that loan agreement meant that the uncle, the grandfather, the parents who were giving things to this person were no longer giving them things. They weren't. At that point, what they were doing was they were loaning them things. And when grandparents and parents and etc. help out an SSI potential recipient by loaning them things, then that person is allowed to receive all of their back pay, just like the homeless person. It is a stupid game that attorneys, claimants have to play with the Social Security Administration. It should not exist. It shouldn't have been created to begin with. It was merely a way to reduce the amount of money that the Social Security Administration had to spend. But wait, who paid for it? The American people. So it's just another way that the Social Security Administration was trying to save more of the people's money. Well, we could do that by just taking more of the taxes that are paid and putting them into these systems instead of sending those funds overseas. We could do that. Oh, but that might offend somebody. So here's the bottom line. I am a very strong supporter of this act. This act is going to make the literal poorest Americans on earth have the strongest chance of going forward and having a better life. If you were wondering, like, what's the unicorn fix? If you were wondering, like, hey, what's one thing we could do to make people not suffer as much in this country? Yes, you could get them a puppy and give them money to take care of the puppy. That is an option, but not as good as this. This helps those poor disabled people and those poor elderly people literally survive. So if you're wondering what's the unicorn law, the one that's the best law out there right now, the bill that should pass, it's this one. It's this one right here. Okay, it's a reformation of Social Security benefits for SSI. Let's keep reading through it. Actually, we've done a lot on it. I know you guys are here to call me. I know that some of you have already called in. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to do this show a little bit differently than what I normally do. Normally, I'll talk about some law that's coming out, and then we'll answer some questions on the phone, et cetera, et cetera. Here's the bottom line. I'm going to take a couple phone calls. I'm going to put the number in there for people to call and ask me questions. We're going to do like 1 or 2 phone calls, and then I'm just going to answer questions from the chat session for like 15 minutes. Whatever you want to shoot at me, whatever you want to, have me answer through this chat session, I'll help you guys out. People were upset that I wasn't answering enough chat session questions. So now we're going to spend an equal amount of time, well, less time on that, but I can answer things faster through the chat session. So we did miss a call. I'm going to go ahead and grab that call real quick. But while I'm doing that, make sure you call in if I can't get through this call, because you know how this works. I'll try to call somebody and it won't work. Let me see real quick. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. We're going to call a person. We'll put them on speakerphone like we always do. And then we'll basically go ahead and answer questions on the channel. And I, as a disability attorney, will help people. Also, if you can, please remember to hit the like, thumbs up button. That always helps me out because it shows YouTube people to check out this channel, since I donate 2 hours every week on Thursday to help people. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube. Just remember to use a fake name throughout this process. And keep in mind, would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you? Perfect, perfect. I'm putting you on speakerphone. All right, let's go ahead. Would you like me to answer a question or run those hearing questions with you?
I want to ask Chris about the raise for $200.
Sure, absolutely. What would you like to know about it?
SSI. When they probably getting the $200 raise?
So there's not going to be a $200 raise in that form given to people. That was originally an idea. Wasn't even a bill. Wasn't even made into like legal wording to be passed through the House and the Senate. It was just an idea from Senator Warren back in the day, back in 2000, to give to those people on Social Security benefits for up to basically 2 years, around 2 years, and that they would receive $200 extra per month. But a lot of people are still seeing that whole like $200 extra per month thing. The problem is this. That is not on the table. It hasn't been on the table for over a year. And unfortunately, there's still scam clickbaity people out there making videos about it. There is no $200 extra per month that's coming. What is coming that's even better than that, though, and this is very important, is specifically, and it's being done by Sherrod Brown, which is a U.S. Senator for Ohio, Democrat individual, really good guy. He is reintroducing the Supplemental Security Income Restoration Act. That's going to boost SSI's sub-poverty level monthly benefits to basically go from $794 per month to 100% of the federal poverty level, a 31% increase. In addition to that, he's going to raise the income, the income and also the asset limit, so that you can have more than just $2,000. You can have now up to $10,000. In addition to that, he's going to basically go ahead and allow you to earn more money if you wanted to work. And if you had other programs paying you, get to keep more of that money. In addition, he's getting rid of the marriage penalty. So if you're married to somebody who's also on SSI, you'll get more money per month. In addition, he's eliminating the provisions where if somebody is helping you, you will still get the full $794. It will actually be higher at that point, 30% higher. And basically, you will be able to go ahead and receive assistance from people and not violate the 1/3 reduction rule. So much better than that $200 per month is this new bill that I personally believe will be pushed through. And if it's not, if there's Democrats and Republicans who are against it, I will personally humiliate them by using law and explaining with analysis and metrics how they're wrong on my channel to show you guys why this is literally the unicorn of bills that we need to help people go forward. And basically the poorest people that are disabled and the poor elderly people would get the assistance that they need.
So we're going to get?
So you're going to get more out of this bill, but it's not going to be in the shape of $200 extra per month.
How much it going to be then?
It depends, because right now, as it's written, as it was submitted, we know what they're saying at that 100% poverty level, 30% increase. But the problem is this: when people start to pull this thing apart, they might change those levels. So if I say to you it's going to be this amount, I could be wrong, because the House could put this, the Senate could put this bill in, and then the House could take it and try and change parts of it. And then the president could go ahead and sign it only with the provision that they would change something. And then they got to go through the whole thing to try and change it based on that to make the president happy. So the bottom line here is this: we don't know. We think it might be a 30% increase, but we don't know.
Okay, then. So when we supposed to begin it?
So here's the thing: it's in Congress. It's still, subcommittee to committee right now. It's not on the floor yet. I don't know. So that's one of the things that I hate with what's going on right now. You see all these clickbait videos where they're like, Biden did it. Tomorrow it's happening. Oh my goodness. It's not there yet. It's still in the committee stages. And here's the thing: if you go to Congress, like their website, and you look up this particular bill, you can see where it's at. They've got little timelines on there that show you, okay, it's at the Senate, it's at the subcommittee, now it's at the committee, now it's okay, now it's on the voting floor, it passed the Senate, now it's going to the House. Houses of the committees are looking at it. Now it goes to the floor. The House passes it through. It goes to the president. The president might sign it, he might not. He said he likes things, he doesn't like things. The president signed it, boom, it becomes law.
So they got to go to a law, like you're a lawyer, ain't you?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yeah. I am. Indeed. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, then. So they got to go to a lawmaker before they get approved, right?
That's the thing. Like, they got to basically get it through the Senate, get it through the House, get the president to sign it. And I mean, like, here's the thing. This is a unicorn law. This is going to change everything. Like, the poor are not going to be as poor as they were. It's not a ton of money, but it's enough to make a very big difference. And so we have to see whether or not they're going to use the bill's language. If they're going to change it, we don't know yet, because at each stage they could fiddle with it. So, and that's the unfortunate thing.
I was there because people be telling stories on the video.
Right.
I'm glad I got in contact with you. And call you on the video, you're real.
Well, I have to be. I can't lie to you guys. I'm an attorney. I would get in trouble. I'd lose my license if I did. So,
Yeah. I hate to call you. So I hope you do pay. What's it about the second stimulus check or fourth stimulus check?
So here's the deal with that. Okay. And exactly what I said is happening. I said, look, Biden's got to make the Republicans look bad during the whole July 4th event of what's going on, because that's what they do. These political groups, the Republicans and the Democrats, they're like religions at this point. They come up with their platform is going to be, they say that it's divine, and then they expect us to toe the line of what they want. And so basically what's happening is these two competing religions are basically trying to destroy each other. So the Republicans are right now having a boost coming up. Because every 4th of July, the Republicans get a boost in pride, right? It's America, America. And the bottom line is that Biden's got to make them look bad during that time. So what Biden is doing is he's creating the expectation that a deal is created and it's going well, but the Republicans are not allowing it to push forward. Exactly what I said would happen, happened. He said, hey, we got a deal. It's amazing. But the reality is they didn't have any deal. What they had was a couple of Republicans that are more left-leaning agreeing with a third-party group with other Democrats that were right-leaning, and they all kind of came together in that regard. But still, you had the leftmost Democrats and the rightmost Republicans that would never sign off on this thing. So what he did was he created this hope that something would happen where people would get money, but he let it get destroyed, because if he knows the Republicans can be blamed for it not going through, then the Republicans will look bad going to the 4th of July. Now, with that said, he's got to get this fourth stimulus out while people still need it in a very hungry way. And the best way to do that is to get it out as soon as possible. Because if you release this thing 6 months from now, then everybody's going to make fun of Biden for saying, well, everybody's recovering and everybody doesn't need it and yada, yada. And what that means is that basically he's got to get it out within this month. And I think he's going to get it out and finish it up when everybody's back in session around the 15th to the 20th of July. However, there's a lot of political tricks going on. So I don't know what their game is. I don't know what they're trying to prove or disprove. But just keep in mind, the bottom line is that at the end of the day, we're going to see the Democrats trying to look like champions with this whole thing. But also remember, and this is ironic, and I couldn't believe it when I read it, Trump actually spent more on the first stimulus and the second stimulus than Biden spent on the third stimulus.
Yeah.
I was blown away by that because, in my head, I was like, Trump's just going to, give us the least amount. The truth is he spent the most to go ahead and for both of those stimuluses, they were more than the third. So we'll see what happens. Look, if it were me, I'd give everybody $10,000. Everybody would get 10 grand. No money would go overseas. And the bottom line is that would make people whole, right? I mean, it would get people a little bit ahead of where they were, or it would get them back whole, or maybe a little bit behind of where they were. But the bottom line is they would have something to use to do better with. And I know people argue against me and they go, oh, you would create hyperinflation and this and that. I don't think so. I think poor people spend money. And when poor people spend money on food, on housing, on shelter, gasoline. Yeah, I've got my dog here. But bottom line is this. Yeah, I think that they'd spend it, and I think that would be good for the economy. I don't think it would create hyperinflation. I don't think people would be holding on to it for investments. I think that's 10 grand that would be spent.
Everybody said we ain't getting no stimulus check.
Correct.
No going for stimulus check. Then some girl was telling me earlier today that they gonna get it for the kids. They ain't finna help us. It's for the kids now.
Well, that's what they're doing. Yeah. Now, and the Republicans are arguing that they're just creating a system of kids being on some sort of other welfare-based program. And the thing I'd like to point out with that is that kids always have a choice at some point in their life because they become adults. And if kids want to forever and ever live on some sort of government dole out, they can do that. But a lot of them don't want that. And the best thing that's happened to kids nowadays is they've got all these YouTube channels talking about how to grow wealth, how to gain wealth, like Meet Kevin and stuff like that, how to take assets and grow them and grow them and grow them. And
what time you close up tonight?
Oh, say it again?
What time you close up?
Oh, I actually, the law firm is already closed right now. I always just go live from 8 to 10 to basically donate 2 hours to the American community to just help them with questions about their disability benefits. Yeah,
I know that. I know Joe Biden, when he got up in there, he did say Social Security supposed to get a raise. That what everybody was talking about. We got that third stimulus check. Joe Biden did say he's gonna make the Social Security increase raise.
He did.
On the increase.
He did. They've got recordings of him on sound bites saying that he's going to raise it, and the problem is he didn't. So we are expecting him to raise it. We expect him to be good on his word. And this Social Security Supplemental Security Reformation Act, basically the Restoration Act rather, that will go ahead and increase SSI benefits, which is incredible. He's got to increase SSDI benefits and retirement benefits as well, but this is the first step.
So he is going to get it done this year, right?
Well, if he doesn't, I'm going to be a real thorn. And that's the reality. I mean, I've got 28,000 subscribers now. Who knows what will be the next day? But the bottom line is, if he doesn't approve this, if he doesn't push this through in a positive way, right? I expect him, he might have some changes here and there. But if he doesn't push this through in a positive way for the people, then I'm going to make him even more famous for why he was not for the people and helping them go forward. And remember, this is a unique class of individuals. This is a group solely for those who are in poverty, who are disabled, or in poverty and retired without traditional retirement benefits. Okay, I dare you to come up with any other group that would be more of a class of individuals that needs a raise more than this group. You can't. Disabled poor people and elderly poor people, that's it. Those are the two classes.
You think he's going to do it?
Oh, he better do it. And he even promoted it on his website before becoming president that he would do it. So he better do it.
Yeah, I think somebody said we're supposed to be getting September.
Oh, nobody knows. Nobody knows. Like, that's the thing. You know, you see these things, these clickbaits online. Nobody knows. Here's what you want to do. You want to look up the bill on the Senate in Congress, .gov. You want to look it up. As you see it, there's timelines, and those little timelines show, has it passed the Senate? Has it passed the House? Is it in front of the president? Has the president signed it? That's what you want to look at, because that is the only thing.
I think it's going to the lawmaker. The lawmaker got approved too.
Well, that is the lawmaker.
Yeah.
The Senate and the House are two branches, and their only job is to create bills, present bills, and make bills that turn into law. The only way they can do that is by writing bills, presenting them, voting on them, approving them if they like them, moving them to the other house. Now we're at the House of Representatives. Same gig. They make them, they present them, they approve them if they like them, they ship them up to the president.
I just call you back and check on. I give you heads up. Call you back.
Will do.
They're gonna say.
Well, Madame, go ahead.
I'm gonna let you go. They said they're gonna prove another fourth stimulus check that the SSI rate gonna be in that fourth stimulus check.
They could make a mega act. They've been doing that. The last couple of them had a ton of stuff in it. I think personally, we need to not pass mega acts. I think we need to actually pass these bills as smaller category-based group bills.
You're a lawyer, so you might go ahead and talk to him anyway.
Well, I mean, I'm not. Look, here's the thing. I'm not creating a letter to send to the president because that's useless, in my opinion. What I'm doing is I'm creating the bolstering points to actually help push this through and promoting that, and then writing additional bill language that would be helpful for him to integrate and assimilate into this. I'm doing a lawyer's version of it.
I ain't know you do that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm in disability law. That's my version of making it better for people. Now, here's the big thing that's coming up, and I want to advertise this to everybody. I've been working on something for 3 years. It's called spaceconstitution.com. It is the first open source constitution for anybody on Earth to write in what freedoms and rights and changes to law they want to see. And then I'm going to get all of my lawyer buddies to work on this to create a new, better constitution, not just for current countries on Earth, but also for future space stations and space colonies. That way people have the most rights and benefits afforded to them at birth. And that is my goal, is to give people the freedom that they've been losing year after year.
That's real good. I mean, so the disability lawyer, if like they say they're going to give us a raise, they need to stick with it.
Yeah.
Because if we struggling out here, we need help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Madame, I will catch you a little bit later. I'm going to take another phone call real quick. Then I'm going to answer questions in the chat session. But you have a wonderful, wonderful night.
You have a blessed night, too.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, so I missed a couple of phone calls there. Let me grab this real quick and get this going. Hold on 1 second. We'll get the next phone call. I'll probably do 1 or 2 more phone calls, this included, and then basically we'll go ahead and answer questions specifically from the chat session. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube right now. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions for you, with you? Okay, perfect. I'm putting us on the speakerphone. Remember to use a fake name, and here we go. Go ahead.
Walter, I'm calling you the state of Kentucky. First of all, I'd like to say that very appreciative of the information that you're putting out and helping educating people, which information is hard to come by.
Sure.
Being disabled, there's not a lot out there for you as far as information. So to my question, I would like to know, are you able to tell me how a person is able to find out about a continuing disability reviews?
Mm-hmm. Sure. That's my dog, just by the way. Yeah.
You and approximately when, a person can expect that. Prior experience for me with a continuing disability review was that I chose to try to do chiropractic care with the idea that I was going to be healed. I later found out in a disability review that that's not an acceptable treatment.
Right.
So, long story, my treating physician advised me against that. I wanted to get fixed, so it was explained to me, hey, we're going to help you. We'll get you back to work, which was my goal. And what I later found out is that, that went against what the rules were. So, with that said, I think you need to understand, that although you're disabled, you need to know how the rules work. And I think that continuing disability reviews are changing. And you can enlighten us with information on that, Walter.
So how it works is this. It used to be every 10 years, people would get a CDR. And what happens with that is that basically a CDR is something where they go through an 8-step sequential process as opposed to the 5-step adult and 3-step child sequential process. So you've got 8 elements. So if you're wondering, what do I do with the CDR? Go look up the 8-step sequential process. That is what they'll use as the little timeline figures and elements as to what the process is that you'll go through. Now, what you'll get in actuality is basically a short form or a long form. Short form means they think you're pretty much disabled. This is just a process that they're going through. A long form means, hey, there might be a problem here and you might be getting kicked off of the program. Now, a short form can still do that. What this is that it used to be every 10 years, then it was 7 years. Now it's down to 3, 2, and 1. What was interesting is that when Obama was in, they had the 1 year and the 3 year options that they were using. When Trump said, we're going to make a 2-year option, everybody lost their damn mind. And the reason why they lost their mind was because his name was spelled Trump. And anything he did was the devil. And the ironic thing is that he put in a 2-year option, but there was already a 1 year and a 3 year option already in. So it didn't really matter. So how often can you get a CDR? Well, you can get a CDR every 12 months. You can get a CDR every 24 months or every 36 months if you want. And the way you find out whether or not there's one coming up is that you contact your local field office and you ask them, when am I scheduled for my next CDR? And they'll actually tell you over the phone when you're expected to have another one. Now, another thing you want to do is you want to continue to build your claim once you're found disabled. A lot of people are like, I'm found disabled. Everything's amazing. Wow. Yeah, cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But you've got to continue to go ahead and prove your claim. And you have to continue to prove your claim because they're going to look at the medical evidence to see if you are still disabled under their rules and regulations. Now, guess what happens? As time goes on, they keep changing the rules. And the rules keep becoming tougher and tougher for people to be found disabled. So what's happening is Biden, I thought, would be super pro disability benefits and allow, people to be found disabled more easily. Well, not so much. He allowed Commissioner Saul to come out with the changes for all the 1.0 musculoskeletal rules, which makes it way, 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 way more difficult to be found disabled for the musculoskeletal rules. So bottom line is this. At the end of the day, the rules change. So you've got to constantly show changing medication because the medication is effective, showing that your impairments are still severe or getting worse, showing that you have more impairments now than you ever had before, and showing that your medical treatment is not curing you to the point where you go ahead and go back to work. So the best way I always tell people is to think of it this way. Think of 4 things. Number 1, are my impairments severe? No, rather, let's put it this way. Let's make it easier. How are my impairments severe? Do my impairments cause effects that limit my ability to work? Number 3, are my medications, basically fixing me? And number 4, what side effects am I getting from my medications that are allowing me to not do work? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, all this comes down to, can you work in the national economy? And the 2 main things that don't allow people to work are the 2 coupled, we call them the coupled categories, absenteeism and off-task time. If you're going to be absent all the time or off task all the time, there's no job that'll have you. And then also, basically, the other one, which is the B criteria for a lot of these, listings and things like that. When it comes to the B criteria, well, it's one particular grouping, but the bottom line is, do you meet the B criteria, which is 2 severes of categories or 1 extreme? And I know it's going to take me too long to go into the specificity of that whole subject, but the bottom line is this. You've got to get found, or you got to remain disabled in one of 4 ways. Number 1, you meet, equal, or exceed a compassionate allowance listing, or you actually just have one. That's the kind of category where you have one, and they're so bad that you're likely to be completely unfunctional. You're going to be in the extreme category, not able to do things. Or number 2, you meet, equal, or exceed a listing. That's where you have this predefined giant list of impairments, and you either are one, worse than one, or you're the same as one, or similar to one, rather. And so basically, that's one way to be found disabled. Number 3 would be essentially you meet the griddings. That's where you have certain age, work experience, education, etc. And those things match up to equate to disabled or not. And then you basically have the final and 4th and most common way, which is a vocational allowance, which states you can't do job because your functional capacity, your RFCs, residual functional capacities, will not allow you to do a job.
Right.
Yep.
So my other question would be this: for the folks out there that are living with chronic pain on a daily basis,
sure,
and they maybe MRIs, EMGs, CAT scans, so on and so forth, and they've gotten to a point to where they meet with a neurosurgeon.
Yep.
Typically, in my case, major problems: L3, L4, L5, 1. Let's go ahead and do surgery and try to help, eliminate some of your pain. However, the conversation goes into there's obviously no guarantee that it's going to be eliminated. Matter of fact, a fusion is going to be online. So for those folks out there who are living with that and are, maybe very, very apprehensive, skeptical about, going into surgery, but yet trying to, surgery is recommended, but they're trying to live with as best as they can with the best quality of life that they have known to them now. What do you say to those folks when surgery is recommended and, like myself, hey, I want to put this off as long as I possibly can because possibly it might arrive from that could cause you more problems than you have right now.
Right.
Is that a statement?
All right, so here's the deal. You're saying there's a bias against people who are not obtaining surgery related to pain situations that they have. Could be the neck, could be the back, hips, any weight-bearing joints, etc. And that basically those people feel that the system is not fair because the system is expecting 3 failed surgeries as part of the listing, and the system is expecting them to go forward with these injections, and they don't want to do that because they don't want to change their body because they can live with it as it is, and they don't want to risk having an even worse situation. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, there's folks out there who say that, I've got the terrible headache, but yet they try not to put maybe poison in their body.
Right, with the different meds, Yeah, to turn them into a zombie. So here's what I would say to those people. The bottom line is they're looking for consistent changes in medication to show that basically no medication is working with the pain. They're looking for specialists to be on your record to say that, you currently have a severity level of this. They're looking for specifically imaging to show how bad it actually is and to outline all those details. And they're looking for essentially somebody who has a reason not to go with surgery. So let's say, for example, you're in a situation, and that's my dog. She's just bitching because she wants attention.
I've got dogs here too.
You've got some furry piggies. Yeah, you got those too. So here's basically the thing. The judge is looking for a doctor to say why you should not get the surgery on paper, in the record, as to, okay, so you're in a situation where basically, let's call it like it is. If you were to have this surgery, you would have a low percentage of likelihood for it to either fix the problem or for it to go ahead and reduce the pain that you're having. Well, then there's no point in having the surgery, because if it's got a low rate of actually, potentially fixing it, then why would you do it? Now, here's the kicker. Most doctors don't want to write that stuff because it reduces the overall likelihood that they will get hired to do the thing that they do, which is surgery. Surgeons get paid to do surgery. So the conflicting interest problem, which is kind of what you're getting at here, is that the judges want the doctor to make a statement as to why the person shouldn't go through it. The doctors don't want to write out a statement as to why they shouldn't be going through it, because the doctors don't get paid unless they go through it, and basically, or get paid a larger amount. They still get paid for the visit from the insurance usually. And then basically you have the claimant stuck in the middle who's going, I don't want to mess up my body more than it already is. I've got the pain medication. It's getting me to the point where I can just barely get out of bed, but I can still get out of bed. What do I do? And the truthful answer is you have to get multiple specialists to do RFC letters to outline your physical limitations and the resulting mental limitations. So let me give you a quick summary here. That way you have an understanding specifically as to what they're looking for. When they talk about these types of impairments for the physical stuff, they're looking for specific categories of inability. And they break it up into basically these 4 things as to how much you can do. They break it up into no limitations. You can do it without issue. Continuous capability, where basically you can do it 2/3 of the time or more. Frequent ability to do that thing throughout an 8-hour workday. You can do it 1/3 to 2/3 of the time of an 8-hour workday. And occasionally do it, which is basically where you have, the ability to do something that's only from 0% of the time to 1/3 of the time. Those are the 4 categories. You can do that thing like sitting, standing, walking, bending, climbing, reaching, squatting, stooping, crawling, kneeling, crouching, or balancing. You can do those things either occasionally in an 8-hour workday, 0 to 1/3 of the time, frequently 1/3 to 2/3 of the time, or continuously 2/3 to all of the time, or no limitation. You can do it all the time. That's what they look at as part of this RFC for the doctor to outline specifically what your capabilities are. And another grouping would be exertional limitations, such as lifting the left arm, lifting the right arm, carrying with the left arm, carrying with the right arm, pushing, pulling, pushing with your leg, pulling with your arm. Then you have extensional limitations. Those are like handling things, seizing things, holding things, grasping, turning, fingering things with fine manipulative features of your hands, picking things up, pinching things, feeling things. Then you have communicative special sense options. Those are things like eyesight acuity, depth perception, accommodations when it comes to sharp focus, color vision, hearing, speaking, talking, tasting, smelling. Then you go into understanding limitations, remembering locations, work-like procedures, understanding short instructions, detailed instructions, oral instructions, written instructions. They have this whole list of things that they look at to see if you have the RFC capability to do them. And the best thing you can do is get letters from your doctors outlining how you are physically unable to do certain functions.
Walter, would you, and my last question, would you suggest to folks out there, maybe such as myself, it's obviously a lot easier to treat with my family doctor versus specialist. Cost, distance, we can make all the excuses that we want, but, we all want to pay our medical bills. So what I find is that I often treat with my family doctor. For those out there who may have a question about Social Security and the opinion that they take, acceptable treatment, how much weight is given to your treating physician, family doctor, / that? Thank you, sir, for answering.
So here's basically what happens. In 2017, Trump dropped the nuclear bomb on disability benefits when it came to rule changes. And that rule change was that basically they would no longer consider your physician as having more weight necessarily than the physician the SSA would send you to as part of their quick little super biased CE examination. Your doctor, as evidence, is now worth significantly less than it used to as of 2017 because of what's they've changed, which is the balance of weight evidence. It used to be simple. It used to be where your doctors had more weight so long as you were going to see them, and they would look at the repetitive nature out of it. They would look at, how long, how long they've been doing things, what kind of things, imaging they looked at. They look at all the things that would give your doctor more weight. Now it's not like that. It's different. Now they've given it so that the amount of weight is more balanced against your physicians so that their specialist can have more weight than even your PCP, which is just your general physician, your general doctor. So the bottom line is, unfortunately, you were right prior to 2017. Go see your doctor, that's fine. Go see your specialist, that's fine. Now you've got to see specialists, and those specialists are used as a battle of the experts in your hearing between your specialist and the specialist they sent you to.
I understand, sir.
Indeed.
Very leery of voting for another Trump, it seems to me like. But with that all said, I want to say again, Walter, I caught on to you a few months ago.
Yeah.
And just through YouTube. And I would have to say thank you from my end in the state of Kentucky for a guy who's trying to inform people about what's going on with disability, politics, so on and so forth. Thank you very much for your service, and I appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, good sir. I appreciate you calling in, and I especially appreciate your state of Kentucky because you have the best boat welders in the state of Kentucky. So I'm just letting you know, up there.
Beautiful country.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But specifically, they make some great welded boats. You have some of the best welders for boat making in Kentucky. I don't know because it's in the middle of the United States, but bottom line is some of the best welded boats that were ever made came out of Kentucky. So, yeah.
I'm tucked up here in the middle of a holler, and I'm sure many of your listeners are probably doing the same thing. It's a small world when you become a person who lost control of their own life due to an illness, sickness, whatever it might be. And sometimes it's voices like yourself that take a 10-hour day and make maybe an hour like what you're doing. And by the way, I look forward to hearing our conversation on your YouTube channel. But you do make a difference. Thank you again for your service. And I know, like a lot of people out there, you're very appreciated, man.
Thank you, good sir. I really appreciate it. And I'll continue to help people as I can. I've been trying to figure out how to balance things because, I got the nonprofit spaceconstitution.com coming out. I've got the disability law firm. They're changing everything with disability law, where a lot of the people right now that are being found disabled, the judges, the administrative law judges, are deciding that they're being found that they're, severely disabled the month before their decision. A lot of these judges are killing off all of the back pay that these people are supposed to get. We just had a claim that we got from another firm, and then we fought it, had to take it up, bring it back down with remand. It was a 6-year-long battle for this woman, ultimately won it, but they killed off all of the back pay. So the attorneys don't really get paid. She gets screwed out of back pay, and now we have to look at appealing it again and all that stuff. And I got to tell you, there's another thing, too, that's been bugging me over the past couple of weeks. I've been looking at all the hearings I've had, and I've had a lot of hearings. And I think that when it comes to judges, I think that the judges, I think even they need to hear and understand the perspective of the people because they are lost without it. They don't understand the struggling of the people. They don't understand my side of this, which is representing people. They don't understand what's actually going on in America. And I feel that there needs to be a better venue for these judges to hear our side of it from not just the attorneys, but also the people applying, those who have benefits, those who have lost benefits. Because at this point, there is no way for the judges to access my experience. And that's sad. And there's another problem. There's no way for me to access their training programs unless I basically sue to go ahead and get them through the law, which I'm thinking about doing, to go ahead and learn the way they learn. But bottom line is there's no way for me to access their stuff the same easily. And I think that's wrong. I think people should be able to access the government's training manuals, training videos, and systems in place. I think we should, you know?
But with that said, I think what there's a failure to understand, Walter, is that these decisions are made, you know, in maybe in just a few minutes of time.
Yeah.
And what you're looking at, that in my case, I'm a 47-year-old man who started working when he was 15 years old, paying into the system. All right. With that said, I have children. I've taken in a couple stray dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I bought a house. I was left with $10 Corso, and really, ultimately for us is that we're trying to survive. All right, even with the shape I'm in. What happens here is that there's no sense of follow up.
Right.
These judges, lawyers, whomever it might be, that determines your destiny for the rest of your life. There's no follow-up, you might say, these folks do. And, you know, ultimately, in some cases, and I've met them, Walter, there's some people who live, and there's some people who don't.
Right.
And there's no consequences. There's no follow-up. It's just huge. Like in my case, it's just huge in trying to move through this world. And there's no consequences sometimes in the decisions that are made for folks, which are life-altering. Okay? So, I know you've got a lot of folks wanting to talk to you. Thank you, man. You're a good man. Thank you for your service. I'm going to get out of here and let you move on. All right?
Thank you, good sir. You have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will catch you later. And don't be afraid to call back in the future to check in.
You betcha. Take care, brother.
Thank you, good sir. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So, guys, I've got, and here's the thing with Sweetie over here. We've have basically a chubby piggy dog, my little sweetie pie, and she does not get enough attention from Shadow, the little black dog that I always hold. I think one of the most important videos I'm going to be creating in the future, or I'll get this phone call real quick, and then we'll go into that. Here we go. Hi. Oh, hold on. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott with Disability Resolution PA. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you? Oh, say it again. Oh, specific question? Okay, perfect. All right, we are going live right now. Make sure you use a fake name throughout this. Good sir, how can I help you?
Okay, hi. I received my SSI about 7 months ago.
Okay.
And I was homeless at the time. And, you know, life is picking up amazingly. I have my own little trailer and so forth, and supporting myself and everything. And as it's going on, they're contacting me and pushing me to go to a psychiatrist.
Okay.
And they're not threatening to take it away, but I can see how they're starting to be a little more serious with their wording and how much they're contacting me. Now, I don't know if it's coincidental. I also got my Medicaid contacting me constantly as well. And, well, my plan is I wanted to get onto medical marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to, you know, somehow get that. And upon getting that, as I received, you know, a general practitioner and a psychiatrist, I figured, therefore, I would twist their arm to have to work with my said medical marijuana, whatever they're called. Mm-hmm. Are they doctors? Yeah, they're doctors, right?
Well, they're like usually pain specialists. Yeah.
Yes. And so, because I feel like, in my opinion, if I go their route and go to a psychiatrist first and what have you, and then try to go with medical marijuana, I feel like there'll be more of a conflict and challenge, as opposed to if I could somehow make that happen first, they'd have to work along with him for treatment, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm trying to attempt to do, and I'm just looking for some direction.
Well, okay, walk me through. What have you done so far?
So far, I've done nothing.
Okay. So you're just basically looking for what the path is to go ahead and get marijuana without it being an issue.
Yes, I wanted to make sure that happened ultimately first before I start doing the stuff they want. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. So here's basically what you need to know. The medical marijuana card is done a little bit differently in different locations. Oh, there was a donation. Catherine Droit, thank you so much for the $20 donation. I really appreciate it because I basically use those donations to usually buy dog treats, which I did not buy for today. And you can see the sweetie is very upset. She's claiming horrible abuse of Snuggles with the lack of treats. So anyway, good sir, the answer to your question is this. The way it normally happens is you need a PCP or a regular general physician to go ahead and set you up to have a reference or a referral to a pain specialist. The pain specialist is who you go to request basically a marijuana card or certification. Then you do the certification, and then you can take that to any one of those lovely stores to go ahead and basically purchase marijuana in a legal fashion.
I don't have a general practitioner yet.
Yeah, but I mean, you'll get
That's
one.
my problem.
I mean, you'll get one though. I mean,
could I take my?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, could I possibly? I live here in Avon Park, and we have some dispensaries here locally, and how they advertise them is, you know, that they'll help you do everything and stuff like that. I was thinking, is it possible maybe I could take my award letter?
Well, no, you have to
show them that.
I mean, I don't know what state you're in, and the state might be a little bit different.
I'm in Florida.
Okay, yeah. So down here, usually you need certification from a pain specialist or a specialist that can certify the use for it. Because remember, the point of marijuana is it's a relaxing agent and a pain mellowing agent. So you have to have a specialist that's going to go ahead and certify you for the quote unquote green card. And once you have that, you can go in there. Now, I've seen people get away with what you're talking about. They walk in, they've got their I'm approved for disability benefits, and they'll sell it to them. But usually the proper way is to go and get the actual medical marijuana card.
And that comes from a general practitioner?
No, that comes from a specialist that you were referred to from a general practitioner. So you get a you get a GP or a PCP as people call it. And then at that point, you go ahead and go to their referral, which is a specialist. And the specialist will usually at that point set you up with a medical marijuana card.
Now, is it necessarily a hush-hush thing to do? Say if I get a general practitioner, because they've been wanting to do that as well, but I've been hesitant to, because of course I've been getting it from the street, and so when I see a general practitioner, I didn't want to perhaps get anything on record until after I was on the medical marijuana.
So
catches.
Yeah, the chicken egg situation. I gotcha. But here's the thing. Go see a general practitioner. Let them know that you would like to try out medical marijuana and you'd like basically a referral to a pain specialist who can go ahead and set you up.
So just be upfront.
Yeah, just be with them. You don't have to go into detail about how you're using it in a legal fashion. And, oh my goodness, you should call the police immediately and send you to the hospital of sadness. You don't need that crap. Just you'd like to try it. You'd like a prescription for a pain specialist to begin that process. And look, it's a little bit of a money situation. It's a money game to some degree. Okay, it costs money to go to a general practitioner. It costs money to go to a pain specialist. You pay an extra amount for the certification card, so you have a medical marijuana card, and then at that point, you get to buy marijuana. It's for people who can afford it. That's basically the deal with this stuff now.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely, good sir. Have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you later. And it would be nice if the Social Security Administration on a federal level would just go ahead and certify that all people who are disabled can buy marijuana.
It'd be a whole lot easier.
It would be easier, and frankly, it would just save everybody a lot of money. So, yeah.
You go ahead and love your pups tonight.
Thank you, good sir.
I appreciate all your help.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, so just a real quick thing, guys. I'm going to take about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to go get some food, mail some stuff out, and come back and shoot more videos until about 1 or 2 a.m. So if you're thinking about calling the law firm at 9 a.m., you're not going to get me. You'll probably get me around 10 a.m. if I'm the one sitting in the chair to answer calls. Do you guys have any, let me fix this. Do you guys have any questions at all that you would like me to answer from the chat session? I see Mr. Strong said it's easy to get a weed card, but EHO can afford the shop's weed highway robbery. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I don't know if that would render the right outcome. I'm just reading through to see if there's any questions. I went through all what you were talking about back in the 1980s. It was a lot easier then. You're very welcome. Yeah, it was super easy to be found disabled in the 80s. Like super easy. Now it's a battle. It's a war. I need help with SSI and I'm disabled and I get an inheritance. Can I call your office? Yeah, that's fine. You're going to ask me about what's considered accountable income versus accountable asset. How is it going to hurt your SSI, etc. So we can go through that whole thing. What's better, though, is call in next Thursday, Amy, HOSP, and ask me then, and I'll walk you through it, and it'll help all these other people who are wondering about the same thing. So if you want to, ask me during the next Thursday session, because I'll go through it all, and then anybody else, it's like, how does it work? I'll element through it and give you the yada yada. Jeff, after my hearing was denied, Hoagland Law quit my case at the beginning of this year, and now I'm stuck on what to do. So basically, a lot of law firms will not take claims to appeals counsel or federal court for the district, circuit, or Supreme Court. You just basically have to find another law firm that will go ahead and either look at the appeals counsel document to send it in for an appeal, or go ahead and start a new claim. If the ALJ was super anti your claim, then the bottom line is you're probably going to want to file a new thing, because if you get a remand back to that same ALJ, you just blew a year. And I had a claimant that really didn't like that I was going through with that. And I was like, look, you've got a good claim, but you're going back to the same ALJ after 15 months of remand. Just heads up, they're probably going to deny it again. You just lost another year. So I would get a lawyer for a trust. I didn't read that. I have over 22 diagnoses, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, and those all kind of usually come together too. And you get a CBD, you lose your pay, blah, blah, blah. Yes, you can own a home on SSI, renting from mom to own. Is that okay? I'm on the deed because she's sick. Yeah, you can rent to own a home. You can have one dwelling. You can own literally a palace. That is your one dwelling. But good luck paying the, whatchamacallit, good luck paying the property tax. That's the kicker. That's why they have to raise that whole 2,000 to 10,000 as part of this rule that I was going through at the very beginning of it, because the bottom line is that $2,000 as an income limit to have in a bank account is like nothing. That doesn't pay for anything anymore. That's like 12 trips to Walmart for your monthly food. That's it. It's probably not even enough for that. It's not enough for that. Let's see. I'm 67 years old. I got my disability. Sherry, you still drive? I don't know if she's still driving. I'm 67 years old. I got my disability many years ago. I tried to get my further Social Security since I was born disabled, and they never gave it to me, and they still won't. Can you help me? I'm 67 years old. I got my disability many years ago. I tried to get father Social Security since I was born disabled. So yeah, they're never gonna. So Darla Ruffle, they're never gonna approve a disabled adult child benefits or an AUX benefits for you now that you're 67 years old, because their expectation is that you should have been doing that 50 years ago. Keep it. I got my SSI without having a PCP because I gridded out their docs, their CEME, all of them just agreed I can't work. Yeah, so that's basically a grid out option. But that's because you're of age and everything lined up properly. You had lower education, no transferable skills, and basically you had types of jobs that probably were more in the simplistic fashion. There's so many questions on here. If you get SSDI on reconsideration with no judge setting a review schedule, should you bug SS about it or let it go? I'm 57. I hope that we'll leave it be. So at 57, you're probably going to get one more CDR, but then after that one last CDR, they won't do them anymore. Once you hit that 59 to 60 territory, it's just not financially worth it for them to do CDRs. Hello from Colorado, Nathan, Leonardo. Howdy. I haven't been to Colorado in a while. I really miss Colorado because my uncle was actually the mayor of Avon, Colorado. And I used to be able to go out there and go to the skiing places where I would snowboard. And politicians get a gold medallion that you wear on you that allows you to go up and down the mountain basically and snowboard for free. And I got to do that, which is like a really amazing thing because I didn't, I don't usually get to be part of that world, the special world. Anyways, let's see. Thank you. Finding someone to represent me is my current issue, as I need to find someone who will fight to the federal level if need be. So yeah, Jeff, you can always reach out to me, send me the last couple of denials, send me the ALJ denial, the AC denial, the district denial, wherever you're at. And then basically I can always look at it myself, send it to other attorneys in the field who will take a look at it. Susie, I'm trying to get my brother on disability. He got an infection and left him paralyzed. Should we get an attorney? I always recommend people get an attorney because everything will just be correct up front, hopefully, usually. But, bottom line is you can wing it yourself. But just remember, if you put something down in the form that is, all right, let me explain to you guys how this works. When it comes to statements on forms, like the 337 form or the supplemental forms, and you say that you can't do something, the SSA goes, oh, well, that's subjective evidence, and oh, we can't consider that. It's colored by blah, 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 the field of law, blah, blah, blah. Da, 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 da. They do that. But then when you say you can do something, the Social Security Administration goes, that is pure fact. It is the most factual thing that we have in the record. They made the statement that makes them capable of doing that thing. So just be aware that you either have statements that help you. The statements that help you, they consider those subjective and they try and throw them out. And then they have statements that hurt you, that the person, you could be putting down on a form. And then they claim that's basically given by God. So anyways, I just received SSDI Medicare being active starting today. Congratulations. Welcome to Medicare land. I'll probably never see that forever because I won't even be able to afford it when I'm 1,000 years old because I'll still be paying my student loans. But congratulations. Darla Ruffalo. So basically they cheated me, and the attorney that I asked to get that for me lied to me. So why can't I still get it? My son gets mine. Well, basically the thing is you're going to have to find a judge, and you don't get to choose your judge. And at 67, I think this was the 67 one. I'm not sure. I'm not going to scroll up that far. But the bottom line is you're going to have to find a judge is almost certainly not going to give that to you unless you can. And remember, too, are we talking about DAC benefits? I think we're talking about DAC benefits, right? Disabled adult child benefits. Darla, give me some fact pattern here because I got minimal yada yada. Also, guys, it is 9:23. I want to go get food. I've got to mail off about 6 initials and a bunch of form stuff. So at this point, I'm probably going to leave you guys. If you want to catch me at the next show, I will get Shadow a treat. He's right under there. He's been stinking me out the entire time. And it was really rough. When I was answering one of the questions, it hit me in the face. And I almost fainted on the live, which you're not allowed to do. But I'm okay now. Either way, guys, he's my little angry. He's my angry support animal. He's the guy who bit me. It's actually twice. He's bitten me twice in the face. And I still have this and some marks here. But under here, he took out a bunch of flesh when he bit into my face. But the holes have mostly filled up. But I wear a beard anyway, so it's not like, it's whatever. Anyways, guys, let's see what else is going on. Giving you your honest answer. Do very good work. Thank you from PC Peach. I appreciate your channel. What are this? Anyways, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful night. I will catch you a little bit later. And just whatchamacallit, catch up with me at some point or catch up with me during the live and we'll go from there. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much, guys. And I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.